contemplation is a way to get within ourselves, just like Dreamwork is.
Welcome, Pam Rhea.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here.
You and I have been on a kind of similar track in trying to bring the idea of dreams and dream work as communication from within our best selves and communication from the divine into the world. You and I have been doing that.
Yes, I mean, it's so rewarding to see somebody, click with a dream or with the concept of it. And you just feel like, I did something, even though it's channeling through me, but something happened.
So, Pam, you are an ordained deacon in the Episcopal Church. And so you're an official clergy person.
I am. I'm a vocational deacon. And which I don't know, that never happens. I'm so sorry with the dog barking. So if there are any dog lovers out there,
welcome, Scuttles.
Yes. Come on back up here. Yes, I'm a vocational deacon. I've been ordained for about 16 years. And you were, I came to see you, I think the first time, just as soon as that had happened. But yes, I'm retired now from being assigned somewhere and being somewhere every Sunday. So I have the freedom to do supply work and get to know lots of congregations.
Well, what I love about this is that you're an official clergy person. There's some authority that comes with you and your teaching and your leading in dreams and dream work. So yes, I love it when clergy's on board.
Yes, people don't think it's, new age woo-woo stuff when you have the clergy support. So
Pam, tell us, how did this start for you?
It's kind of interesting. I think when I was, about 12, our town here in Columbus built a new library, and it's a nice library, it's a big 2-story library. And I decided that I would read every book in the new library. Quite an ambitious task for a 12-year-old. So I started with in the Dewey Decimal System, the nonfiction, the 000s, and that was my pattern. I was going to read through. Well, as you may know, when you hit the 100s, you get into philosophy and psychology. I was fascinated with both of those. And in our library, there were probably 3 or 4 books on dreams. I don't remember the titles or the authors, but this would have been about 1970, 1971. So not a whole lot out there, I don't think, to read, and certainly not in a little small town. But I read those books and absolutely fell in love with Dreamwork and really wanted to be some kind of analyst or therapist or something when I grew up. That didn't happen, but I've always loved dreams, and I had one really big recurring dream as a child. And so I started it with that one, just keeping it fresh all the time. And then I write down my dreams or parts of my dreams and talk about them with people, whoever would listen, when you're 12 to 15 years old. Anyway, so that's kind of how it started for me. And I have always read whatever I could get on dreams, not just books, but, articles in the psychology magazines and in different things, and just loved it. Well, that kind of got put on hold for many years as I was an accounting major, and then, studied for the ministry and had a family and all those things. But as soon as I was ordained, I said, I'm doing something I've always wanted to do. And so I went to Hayden Institute and did their Dreamwork program, which introduced me to so many books and authors and a technique or a method for, pulling these dreams apart. And so that's my love of dream work it's been going on for 50 years. And it never gets old.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
It's always fascinating, isn't it?
It is always fascinating. My own dreams and then other people's dreams. And now that I'm kind of known about town a little bit about being the dream person, I have people call me a good bit, with a dream.
Mhm.
Usually something that's bothering them or something, but and it's always, again, rewarding to me to work with them. So that's kind of my history in dream work. Learning.
So have you led groups? I know you've taught workshops because I've sort of seen them around.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that as a piece of a ministry, because that's what it sounds like it was.
It has been. For most of the workshops I've done, I've been invited by church groups or some kind of, religious affiliation groups. And so when I approach it that way with those groups, the workshop is usually like dream work as a spiritual discipline that, as a part of your whole spiritual self, that component can be very enlightening and rewarding and feeling closer to the divine that way. If you plow through it like it's something just like people do with Lectio Divina or some other discipline that they take on, the more you do it, the better you are at it. So for those groups, that's the way I approach it. And I'll do a 3 to 6 hour workshop usually. Sometimes weekends, a Friday night and a Saturday morning or whatever. Other groups that I've worked with, are not necessarily church-based groups. And while I might use biblical dreams as a lot of my examples with the church groups, for other groups, I can approach it like being whole and being your best self, and by working within. And we look at case studies, some of the dreams I've worked with people or some of my own dreams. And because I learn by example. So the more dreams I hear and how people work them,
Mm-hmm.
the more I can catch on, if that makes sense. So
yes.
I was just going to say, and I add to that, I've done some classes at our local universities, Mississippi University for Women, and they had for a long time a life enrichment program just for the community. Come learn how to change your oil, come learn what your dreams mean, just whatever. And I usually had a really nice turnout for those. People out there want to know. They just don't know who to ask. So
you are so right. Your track and mine are very, very similar. I had early experiences with dreams that were quite profound. I majored in accounting.
What made us do that, I wonder?
And then I had to put it down for a while. I had to put down dream work and thinking in those terms for a while because, life, family business, and then got reintroduced to, came back to it, but very much like you, even to the point of teaching classes down here at Millsaps College in their enrichment series. I did that several times. This is so crazy. So I've always thought of you, Pam, as like this little warm light up there in North Mississippi You know, spreading the word, holding the light, you know, like Jung said, we have to light this little light to keep consciousness alive. And, you know, so I think about you doing that up there, and always so glad to see you come when we used to have conferences down here, and see you come and have conferences down here. Do you feel free enough to talk about maybe a very meaningful dream that you had, and what it pointed you to, or if you feel comfortable sharing one that was a turning point?
Yes, I'm quite comfortable sharing, and this is one that I use kind of as an example in some of the stuff I do. And you know, I've worked it and I think I've got it figured out, but then again, who knows? But it is a dream that has a lot of symbolism in it. And so I'll just share that in my dream, I'm sitting at a bar. It's beautiful wooden bar, and it stretches as far as I can see on either side. And behind the bar, instead of a bartender, is a friend of mine who had died couple of years before I had the dream. She was so very nurturing as a friend and as a person. She was a kindergarten teacher, so, you know, she had all those wonderful qualities. But she is behind the bar serving a 4-layer strawberry cake, cutting it into pieces and placing the pieces on round white plates, and, you know, handing them to everyone at the bar. I know none of these people, you know, they're just my dream people that I have, but she doesn't give me one. And then she walks like in the back where I can't see her, and I'm yelling, "Where's my piece? Where's my piece?" And about that time, a tiny little bicycle with a tiny man on it, I could squeakingly riding down the bar, stops at my empty plate and puts an envelope in my plate, a little tiny one, and squeaks on and goes, you know, and I'm watching. So I pick the envelope up and I open it, and out flies a beautiful full-size dove, and a lot of confetti falls, a gold confetti type stuff falls as the dove flies out and flies on. And that's the dream.
That makes me catch my breath.
I mean, it's a wonderful dream. And, you know, it was one of those that I thought, wow, that is such a great dream, and so unlike my dreams where the washing machine won't work or something like that. But that's a favorite of mine that I'm glad to share. And you see the symbolism everywhere. And I mean, just the dream language is so beautiful in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. Strawberry cake it was.
Yes.
4-layer.
4-layer.
I've just got to ask, is strawberry your favorite or
No? I mean, I like it just fine, but it is not my favorite.
But the picture that it evokes for me is so pretty. It's a pretty cake.
Pretty cake.
Oh, so beautiful. You know, the round plates, the 4 layers are these subtle nods to how the divine shows up in a dream, how the self shows up in a dream. But if you needed more, the dove. Wow.
I know. At the time you asked me about it being kind of a changing dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time I was stressed out, as we all get from time to time, but I couldn't decide what to focus on. I couldn't decide about my ministry exactly. I couldn't decide, you know, I had grandchildren popping up and things to do there. And I was just confused about my identity, if that makes sense. which mask am I supposed to wear all the time? And after working with it a while, this is what I came up with. Where's my peace was really where's my peace.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Where's my peace? And my peace is in the little things.
That is brilliant.
Because I just, I mean, now whether but that's the message I received, that I needed to focus on the simple little things and the rest would come. From my kindergarten teacher friend and the little man and then the dove of peace. And anyway, that's one of my favorite dreams I've ever had. And it did help me to decide where my life focus should be at that point.
Well, it's now one of my favorite dreams I've ever had. I'm always just floored by how the divine creativity puts together these things, chooses the elements and puts them together in a way that our waking life ego is too little, too narrow to ever come up with this stuff. I'm not that creative, for sure.
I'm certainly not either, but yes, that's why I like to use it kind of as an example, because it has the language play and has the symbolism, and it's just, it's the beauty of dreams. I mean, if a dream can do that, just think what we can do if we tap into that source, if we could get past the ego and get in there.
Yes. Yeah.
But, and I do want to add, I always tell people, what you told me and what we're taught about honoring our dreams. And I sure did bake a 4-layer strawberry cake.
Of course you did.
I mean, I couldn't think of, well, what else am I going to do? That's it.
The perfect response. And give yourself a big old slice of it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that makes me happy. I may have to go do that myself now that I may have to honor your dream. Oh, that's marvelous. That's marvelous. Do you have a sense of, at this time in our shared lives, in our current events, in things that are happening in our world right now, do you have a sense of this dream work being a way to, I don't know what, navigate this, or give us some ideas about how to respond to the world today? I don't know what I'm asking. Can you tell what I'm asking?
Kind of, yes. I mean, I know, during COVID, for instance, when we were shut down and so many people's dreams turned to fear and stress, and they were having some really everybody I, talked to, some vivid and almost frightful for part of it, unusual imagery, even more than the usual uncommon things. And I think that now, people are re-experiencing some of that, from what I can tell, or what little I've seen about it, just because these are unprecedented times. And no matter where you are in your beliefs or your loyalties, it's just things aren't as certain and comforting as they have been a lot of times. And I think it's important for us to listen and pay attention to, even, especially to those fearful dreams, to see, because, as Jeremy Taylor tells us, dreams come for health and wholeness. They're coming to tell us something we didn't know. So if we can get that little nugget out of there, because the dream's gotten our attention, we
Mhm.
can get down to what it is, I think it will help us to face uncertainty or
Mhm.
just, you know, older people not knowing about things, younger people not knowing, just it'll help us, I think. I don't know. I haven't worked with anybody like that
Mhm. Mhm.
um, yet that I
Mhm.
know of. I did a few people during COVID, so
Mhm.
it's in there if in the dream if we can find it, I think. I don't
Mhm.
know what you're really looking for in an answer, but that's just kind of
No, that's what I'm looking for. I have found that dream work for myself as well as other folks helps us remember ourselves, if you will, helps us remember, okay, helps ground us in a way. Certainly will show us, okay, here's where my fears are. Let me just pay attention to this and ground myself again and know where my values are, know where what I believe in and what is truly important. Something along those lines. I have found folks having, yes, they're having fearful dreams, but they're also, from time to time, they're also having compensatory dreams, dreams that compensate,
yes.
that show a, a pleasant scene or a pleasant experience, and that helps kind of right the ship, if you will. Oh yeah, I can face my anxieties and balance myself a little bit here, because dreams do that as well. They can, at least
Yes.
that's what I found.
Oh, definitely with the compensatory aspect. And that has helped me so much in my life with all kinds of things. And you're right. Even if the dream just gives us a word or a phrase or an image that we can keep in mind,
Mm-hmm,
as we navigate through our conscious lives,
mm-hmm.
it's so helpful.
It certainly has been for me. It has. So, do you have anything coming up? Any kind of talks, workshops, studies? What you got on the horizon?
On the
Folks in
horizon.
North Mississippi.
Well, I'm going to be traveling down to Hattiesburg in January to do a dream workshop for a counselor I know down there. And so that's a big opportunity for me to go down there and to see her again and to work with people, who I don't even know who these people are, but people that might incorporate dream work into what they're doing or
Mhm,
learn more about it.
mhm.
So I got that. And before that, for Advent, I'm doing a book study, which is not really dream focused, but I will make sure that I introduce a little bit of dream information into it. But the book is by one of my favorite authors, and that's Christine Valters Pinkner. She's written a number of books, and this one is called Give Me a Word.
Ah,
And it's about the contemplative, based on the contemplative practices of the second and third century monks, desert monks, where they would seek out a word or phrase to live by. And a lot of people now choose their word for a year, but this is more let the word choose you, and you're going to incorporate different types of contemplating how that word affects your life or whatever. Their word may come to them in a dream. I'll certainly mention that. And I would say that last year I did this and my word came in a dream. And I didn't think, I was excited about my word. I'll just tell you that. Then I had some health challenges at the first of the year, and I
mhm,
thought, flourish is not what I'm doing right now. This is what I've got the wrong word. But as that, resolved itself, I have it in my inner work flourished. And so it was a good word. But
Mhm.
this is a little bit different. I'm hoping that I've had a good response to this. And
Mhm.
so I'm hoping that people will be more aware of some contemplative practices, more aware of getting outside the box of Christianity and exploring all the wonderful things out there,
Mhm.
that really bring us closer to knowing ourselves and to knowing our relationship with the divine. So I've got that coming up for Advent.
And where will that be, Pam?
Well, I have been invited by the First Presbyterian Church here in Columbus to do that. And that's getting outside my Episcopal zone, but very receptive group. And I've had people from all different
Mhm.
denominations
Mhm.
who want to join us. So it's very ecumenical.
That's just music to my ears. I am so interested in the overlap between contemplative practice and dream work because they are, I think, very much side by side, if not slightly overlapping.
I agree. And, I think that if people realize that it is that it's not something way out there that only, DreamWorks just something that, I don't do that kind of thing. I want people to realize that contemplation is a way to get within ourselves, just like DreamWork is. And hopefully I can't push it on them too hard, but I can certainly infiltrate what I do with with dream stuff, if that makes sense.
You've said a little bit, Pam, about how your dreams have influenced you since since childhood. Did they lead you to becoming a deacon? Did they lead you into discernment to become a deacon in the
I
church?
can't I can't give a specific example.
Uh-huh.
I had a dream during my discernment when I already had, felt the call, as
Mhm.
we say, that I like to think was something telling me what to do. And that is, I was eating a tuna sandwich on round bread, that little thin round bread. And it was a tuna sandwich. And I went to bite into it and I couldn't get my teeth through it. And so I, opened it up, and inside was a butterfly that was stuck in the mayonnaise and stuff. And I thought, oh no, I've killed it. And about that time, the butterfly started fluttering and freeing itself, and it flew away. Now, I don't know if I'm right, but I took it, and that's what's important.
Mhm.
To me, that, with the butterfly being the psyche and the soul, that I was meant to try something, to free myself from where I was.
Mhm. Mhm.
It was the discernment into, because when you're discerning, you doubt yourself, you doubt everything.
Mhm.
While at the same time you're being lured and driven to something by, spirit. So I took that dream to mean I needed to be free to do what I wanted to, which was
Mhm.
the discernment. So I that's the only dream that I associate with that time period. But certainly during my ministry, many, many dreams have been with me
Mhm.
through many situations,
Mhm.
because that's what I've looked to. That's my communication with God,
Mhm.
um, is through dreams. I mean, I feel like God has been communicating with me through my dreams since I was a little 4 or 5 year old, or
Mhm.
earliest dreams I can remember.
Mhm. You and I share that feeling. When you referred to dreaming and dream work as your spiritual discipline, that is absolutely what I call it as well. It is my prayer my dream work is my prayer. My writing my dreams down in my dream journal is prayer. My honor, especially honoring the dreams, is prayer. So I had a midlife change to become a therapist.
Right.
Out of a family business, that had been around I was third generation, and contemplating leaving that, already in discernment, if you will, to do something different. And I had a very vivid dream in which Ruthie Woodruff Stanley showed up. Now, Ruthie is still the bishop over there, the Episcopal bishop of Carolina, of South Carolina.
One of them, I can't remember, but yes.
At the time, she was not. At the time, she was a priest, I think. And she showed up at the church I was attending then, St. James, and she was beckoning someone to come with her. And at first I thought it was me, but it was a young woman behind me. And the young woman behind me stepped out and followed her out the transept door of that church. And I was so heartbroken because it wasn't me. And I admired Ruthie in Waking Life so very much.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, and this is, dream logic is not Waking Life logic. But for some reason, I took that to mean you are being called, my dear. Your shadow aspect is answering the call, and it's time for you to answer the call.
Yeah.
And so that's how I does that make perfect logical sense in Waking Life? Maybe not, but I took it to be like your butterfly dream, an absolute affirmation to continue going in the direction that I was going. And lo and behold, it unfolded this way. So we can't always say a line from point A to point up. Your dream is going to give you the direct line from point A to point B. There's an intuitive aspect in there somewhere that defies Waking Life logic. I don't know if that's your experience or not.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what's disappointing to some people who seek dream, for me, they want to know instantly, I dreamed this and this and this, and what does that mean? Well, it doesn't work that way. First of all. Second of all, when we explore, I was talking to a young lady last week, and I said, think about this aspect of it, or what about that, or what's your relationship with this? It's not definitive. And it can be a wonderful journey to explore all those, ideas or associations, but it's not, it's not the magic 8 ball, that's for sure.
Exactly so. Exactly so. But somehow it's richer this way.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot richer this way, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, you're not usually just thinking about one little thing. It encompasses everything about you, basically. To me, every dream, there's so many layers to it and so many different directions you can go that it provides way more than you ask for. People can't take that in all at once, but if they would stick with it, they could. Not a quick fix.
I found that's an interesting idea around your 4-layer cake. How many layers does a dream have? And they're all true. They're all delicious.
That's true. That's true. I did a workshop one time. This was one of the most rewarding things. I've had a workshop one time down in Jackson, and this man was there, and he scowled at me the entire time. It was one of those all day things, and he scowled all morning, and he scowled through lunch, and he scowled in the afternoon, and we're kind of wrapping it up. And he raised his hand, and I I was just hoping, please, you know, please don't ruin a good day. And he said, "You mean to tell me that monster that's been chasing me through the woods all these years is me?" And I said, "Well, it is certainly some aspect of you, some part of you." He said, "Well, that makes more sense than anything." And he was so happy. He even sent me a thank you note later. And that was like, yes, I just thought he was being disagreeable, but I think it just clicked with him that moment, and that's what it takes sometimes is to.
He was thinking, he was working all day. What?
He was. It was like,
But that's why we do the work. I mean, at least those moments are just treasures.
I know those moments are great.
Yeah. We
don't get those every time, do we?
No. Sometimes we get blank stares. And, I've asked, is this any questions? No. But then, sometimes there's one person in the room and you see eyes light up, and that's worth it. Absolutely worth it. So
it is.
So is there anything else that you would like folks to know? What's the most important takeaway from your work, this work? Is there anything you'd like to tell the world about this?
Well, I know that working this way as a communication with self, divine, whatever, is not necessarily for everybody. And it like any other work that we do, it takes work, and you have to keep at it. But if it is your thing, and if you realize, hey, I've made a connection here, and I understand some things about myself more, or other people, why I, might not get along with Mrs. Somebody because they're so much like me, and I'm seeing myself in them, or whatever the takeaway is for people from Dreamwork with shadows or the archetypic complexes, whatever it is, that it really deepens you, and it enhances relationships. It gives you ideas that you didn't know you had bubbling in there. Didn't Carl Jung say something similar to dreams tell the secrets that our ego hides from us, or something similar to that?
I believe you're right.
And so I think that that's certainly what's happened to me. And not just, and it happens to me, all the time. I don't always get up and write my dreams down. Life is in there, but I can't wait when I've had a dream that I do recall very well, and it's on my mind. I can't wait to delve into it. And because, it's especially hard to work on your own, or it is for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, it really unlocks Dreamwork, unlocks things, ideas, ways to improve relationships, decisions. I mean, it does.
It's worth the work.
Work the work.
I think it's very much worth the time.
Yes.
If we put in there. For thinking types like myself, it also pulls out the feeling side and the creative side to balance because if you're a rational thinking person, dreams are insane. But you know, to take our dreams seriously has balanced me on lots of levels that I hope is moving me toward that which I am meant to be.
Yes, beautifully said. That I feel like I get another tiny little notch in inner work and in individuation just every time I discover something, either about my own dreams or working with other people, because other people's dreams, that's the beauty of dream groups. You take those on and hey, that meant something to me too. So
that's kind of fun doing group dream work, watching the dreamer begin to understand something, but then watching two other people catch on fire because the dream spoke to them about themselves, which is
yeah,
so cool. That
is.
to swim in the collective that way is just brilliant. It's just brilliant. So, Pam, thank you for spending some time with me today and spending some time talking about dreams, spirituality, and what this has meant to you and how important it is. Thanks to Scuttles for being with us today.
Thank you for letting Scuttles be with us today. She managed to get her opinion in on a couple of things, and I appreciate that. It was delightful, Karen. I just love to see you and talk to you and to share. I'm like you. Oh, you want me to talk about dreams? Fine. How long have I got?